So, of course, new Doctor Who starts next week. I'm very excited. I mean, the last series with Jodie Whittaker, I'm hoping they're going to do her good. And I can't wait until the first episode, The Halloween Apocalypse. But before that arrives, there is one thing that I do want to give a quick review of with Doctor Who. I was I wasn't necessarily sure if I really wanted to do a review of this, but to be honest, it was so cool that I honestly felt, yeah, it deserves its own review. And that is the Doctor Who 2013 comic Prisoners of Time. Now, I have done a video recently of kind of ranking the Doctor Who comics in my collection, which I did recently. But I felt today I really had to give a personal review of this one because this one, I think it's something that you want to see on screen. You know it's never going to happen on screen, but you're just so happy that it exists. And you know what? This, I think, is something really cool. For those who don't know, Prisoners of Time was a Titan Comics publication released over the year 2013 for the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who. And it comprised of 12 issues, or 12 comics, all fitted together into one storyline, with them covering the first 11 Doctors, not counting John Hurt's War Doctor. I don't know if he was introduced yet, but it covered the first 11 Doctors and then brought them all together for one big story. And honestly, it's pretty cool. And while the nearest we'll probably get to 11 Doctors all in one episode is the Saving Gallifrey scene from the Day of the Doctor, which, admittedly, the Day of the Doctor is pretty cool. This is, I think, what we would want out of kind of a big celebration piece for the Doctor. I mean, we know it's never going to happen, but it's still pretty cool. So, you got Adam Mitchell, the failed companion of the Ninth Doctor, previously played in Doctor Who's first series episode Dalek and the Long Game by actor Bruno Langley. Now, he's kind of he feels like he's been handed a rough deal. I mean, he's travelled with the Doctor, seen these things, and then he's just suddenly dropped off home because he made a mistake. That mistake being he had an info spike implanted into his forehead, and then attempted to use it to gain information from the future back to his past home so he could sell it. The Doctor kind of forced him to go back home, and it's revealed that shortly after this his mother passed away of a brain aneurysm. So he had to live pretty much his entire life feeling like he'd been jilted. But after breaking back into Van Statten's museum, which had been filled in and left behind, and stealing the vortex manipulator of a time agent who came to investigate, he is setting off on his own journey through time, and that is being to kidnap some of the companions belonging to the Doctor. He wants to make the Doctor feel truly alone, just how he had felt. And I'll admit, if I read this comic back in 2013, or similar to when it had been released, I probably wouldn't have gotten that much enjoyment out of it. Honestly, I had to watch a lot of classic Who to truly appreciate this, and you know what? It's worth it. Because each Doctor has their own kind of specific aura, or their specific personality, and after watching a whole load of classic Who, you do begin to appreciate more when they get it right down on paper. So some of the companions he tries to kidnap, we see him kidnap Ian, Barbara and Vicky from the first Doctor, following another encounter with the Zarbi, kind of giant ant-like creatures. They're really just servants. He kidnaps Jamie McCrimmon and Zoe Hediot, following the second Doctor's attempt at stopping down an alien trafficking ring taking place in an alien supermarket. He kidnaps Liz Shaw, Sarah Jane Smith and the Brigadier, following an attempt by aliens to flood the world. Leela and K9 get kidnapped following the Fourth Doctor's encounter with the Judoon, which I honestly was a little unsure about, because the Judoon wouldn't be introduced until much later, but fair enough. Adric, Nissa and Tegan he kidnaps following an encounter with a skirmish between the Sontarans and the Rootans, which is pretty cool. Perry he ends up kidnapping following an encounter at an alien zoo with the Master and the Autons, to which the Doctor does actually have one other companion from this era that he can rely on, that being a shape-shifting penguin named Frobisher. Just read the comic. You have to. It's weird, but it works here. Ace is kidnapped following another encounter with the Master at a mysterious castle. Grace Holloway is kidnapped after they encounter a series of aliens who kidnap various people via something they call the Ascension. They plan to use them to repair their own bodies. Rose is, of course, kidnapped after an encounter with the richest man in the universe, Drake Aylborn. Martha Jones is kidnapped following an encounter by the 10th Doctor with the Dominators, creatures and machines formerly encountered by the 2nd Doctor, and then he ends up kidnapping Clara following an encounter with frog people. He wants to leave the Doctor completely alone, and his plan is that he'll kidnap all of these companions, not just the ones mentioned, but also most of them, and then he wants the Doctor to choose one companion that will be spared, and the rest will all be killed, forcing the Doctor, the 11th Doctor at least, into an impossible decision. And in order to do this, he's also allied himself with the Master. In this case, the Anthony Ainley version of the Master. Now, this was 2013, so we hadn't yet met Missy, but I think Anthony Ainley's Master was a good choice for this particular story, because Anthony Ainley sadly passed away in 2003, and while John Sims' Master did exist by this point, I don't know if he would necessarily fit in with this story. I mean, he was a kind of different type. He was kind of more kind of politically evil. Anthony Ainley's Master was a lunatic, and after watching a lot of his stories from the eras of the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th Doctors, I gotta admit, he was a maniac, and he fits in so well with this. I mean, while Adam expresses doubts later on and says that he just really wanted to make the Doctor feel pain, the Master wants to rule the universe. He wants to conquer it and remold it into his own image, which does actually give Adam some great points. But it all leads up to the final issue. Like, while each of the first 11 issues focuses on another incarnation of the Doctor, numbers 1 to 11, the last one, I think, is the real pièce de résistance of the entire thing, which is that when they ask the Doctor to make the choice, it's like, can you give me a chance to discuss with myself? And then you get all 11 Doctors in one room, which would never happen on TV. They'd never be able to pull that off. I mean, the closest I said we ever get was saving Gallifrey in The Day of the Doctor, and that was awesome. But this is all 11 Doctors interacting with each other in the same room, and it's just awesome. I mean, even they show companions who we didn't see getting kidnapped, but are there, including the Ponds and Mickey Smith. And it's just, once again, awesome. And anyway, it ultimately ends with Adam redeeming himself, stopping the Master, but then getting mortally wounded. And the Doctors finally agreeing that, yeah, while he may have screwed up first time around, Adam does deserve a spot as a companion. So as he dies, leaving with a tombstone that says, Adam Mitchell, companion, true. And it's a great redemption story for Adam. I mean, they developed a bit of a phrase over the past few years of like, we don't talk about Adam. Well, with this particular story, Prisoners of Time, we should. I mean, Doctor Who has, of course, done multi-Doctor stories with the 3 Doctors, the 5 Doctors, the 2 Doctors, the Day of the Doctor, twice upon a time, and they've done them in the comics as well. I mean, one of my favourites is A Little Help from My Friends with the 13th and 10th Doctors. But yeah, Prisoners of Time is a whole other level, and if you haven't read it yet, I urge you to find yourself a copy and read Prisoners of Time, because this is the multi-Doctor story we may never get on screen, but we need it in our lives. So there you go. If you haven't read it yet, read it. Trust me, it's brilliant. Anyway, there you go. That's my quick little review of Prisoners of Time from Doctor Who, and I can't wait for Series 13 to start. Anyway, until it does, I'll see you in a week. Bye.